What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okie dokie, guys. I'm going to go through the new cabinet. This list here is the ministers before the election, and as you should know, a bunch of them tapped out. And now, since Shithat Morrison is still the Prime Minister, he got to pick a bunch of new ministers. And an article that I'm going off of, which is really good by, I think, Canberra Times. I'll have a link below. It's real quick and informative, and it's got juicy bits about how who shafted who with the whole Morrison versus Dutton takeover, which was ridiculous because I just landed in London and got to my friend's house. Shout out to Jan Baxter and his mum and dad. But as soon as I got there and checked my phone, it's like, oh, how's Australia going? You're picking a new Prime Minister and there's freaking needles and strawberries. And I was gone for 2 days. Can't leave yous alone for 5 minutes without something going wrong. Anyway, on to these ministers. We still have Shithat Morrison as the Prime Minister. Alright, and this Shithat must have been trying to cover for all of the signs that he doesn't respect women by having a record of 7 women in this 22-member cabinet. Woo. Oh, and put the first Indigenous person as the Minister for Indigenous Affairs. I guess credit where credit is due. On to Alex Hawke, which is our new International Development Assistance Defence Minister, and old mate Stuart Roberts, which was that guy that racked up that ridiculous internet bill and has other corruption scandals here and there. He was promoted from the Assistant Treasurer to Minister of Government Services, so he's now overseeing the National Disabilities Insurance Scheme. Like, nothing's gonna go wrong there. And these first two, they got a sweet deal because they backed Morrison over Dutton in that whole leadership spill. Oh yeah, and then Dutton, he's still the Home Affairs Minister, which is that department which has all the agencies in it that should not be overseen by the one minister. On to Melissa Price, our ex-Environment Minister and now Minister Defence Industry. Now, I've already mentioned this, but oh god, how problematic I think it is that we even have a Minister of Defence Industry. Just the military-industrial complex is victorious. Now, let me tell you something about Melissa Price. Now, for the people that don't use Twitter, I'll explain ratio to you. It's where usually if you see someone's tweet that has a lot of likes, a lot of retweets, and a couple of comments, it's usually because people genuinely agree with them. But if they have very few likes, very few retweets, and a lot of comments, that usually means they've said something really stupid and everyone disagrees with them and nobody likes them. That was pretty much every tweet by Melissa Price. Now, it even says here in a few articles that she was demoted or swapped out in a sense because of her poor media presence. That might have something to do with it. Replacing Melissa Price as Environment Minister will be Susan Ley, who was forced to step down in 2017 because she decided to buy an apartment during a work trip to Gold Coast. Nice one, Susan. And then we have Ken White, which is the first Indigenous Australian to be the Indigenous Affairs Minister. This next guy, he quit his job trying to get Peter Dutton into the Prime Minister's seat, but he's overseeing the first home loan deposit scheme, which seems like an absolute horrid idea. Moving on to my mate, David Littleproud. Now, don't know what's really going on here, but he's been given the responsibility of being Minister of Water Resources, Natural Disaster and Emergency Management, because it seems like they put lots of funding into natural disasters, as you could tell from some of my previous videos. Wow. And he's then split the load with the agriculture front by having the first female agriculture minister, Bridget McKenzie, which this photo may help indicate. And she used to be our sports minister. Seem to have taken it really seriously. They have lots of inside jokes and buddy shit going on between these two. I don't like it. And then we have Alan Thudge, he's the population minister, while Richard Colbeck will take care of aged care, youth and sports, taking over from Bridget. Paul Fletcher will take over as communications minister. I think they've completely dropped out arts, because it used to be communications and arts, and I don't think they care about it anymore. Or the Liberals probably never did. And his first priority is to complete the NBN rollout, and I won't even get started on the NBN. Oh, and then we have Senator Arthur Syndinos. He's replacing Joe Hocking as the ambassador to the United States. Linda Reynolds, another senator, she will be the defense minister, replacing old mate, my boy C Pine. And Dan Teagan will stay the education minister. And this guy is really passionate about Catholic schools. Like, you search him and you end up clicking one link to CatholicsCouncil.com and all this other jazz. And yeah, well, he's the sort of person that wants to drug test welfare recipients. Yeah, oh yeah, great guy. And we still have this guy. Where's my hair? Ooh, I miss my hair. He's still the treasurer. And Mattis, he's still the finance minister. Yippee. And Cash, the minister of whiteboards, she's now employment and skills, but the attorney general, which is still Christian Porter, will take over her responsibilities as industrial relations. So still a complete shit show, still led by a shit hat Morrison. And yeah, at least What Do You Mean is going to have plenty of material, but it's not too good for the country. Thanks for listening. Remember that What Do You Mean is on Instagram, Twitter, kind of on Facebook, not really, and especially Patreon if you want to help make this my day job. If this was my day job, I could spend my entire day emailing these pricks and telling them that people are paying attention to the horrendous job they're doing at representing the people, but the fantastic job they're doing at ripping us off. Peace.